Sup, fucker?
How the hell are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good after, a couple of these less than mediocre beers.
Yeah. Helping for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, allegedly June is Men's Mental Health Month.
Mm-hmm.
But November is Men's Mental Health Awareness. Movember.
It's also No Nut November, right?
It is.
They kind of clash.
Yeah, I'm never going to participate in that, ever.
It sounds like a dumb idea.
Yeah, I would do Sober October, but
Yeah.
not No Nut November.
Yeah, that's whack.
But I participate in No Shave November.
Yeah.
Except for,
I've been participating in that for quite a while now.
Same. I haven't seen my bare face in almost 10 years.
Yeah, the last time I shaved was...
For that Halloween thing.
Halloween, yeah. That was Bob from Bob's Burgers.
That's right.
So, that was like 6 years ago now. Yeah.
Last time I shaved bare was 2015.
That was almost 10 years. It was 10 years, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I find, stupid about that whole thing is June is Men's Mental Health Month, but it's also Pride Month. So Pride kind of overshadows the other part.
Mental health.
Yeah. So
well,
I think
that's kind of, par for the course for men's mental health, though, I guess.
Yeah. You're not as important as this other thing. So yeah, that's why I think November should just be Men's Mental Health Month.
We'll just make it so.
Yeah. I mean, even though we didn't, win the presidency, we'll just do it in our own way. Because I would have just put an executive order that November is Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah, and Summerween was official.
Yeah, we're just going to have to do it the hard way through social media.
Campaign a little harder.
Next time.
We got 4 years.
We got time to plan this shit out.
Yeah, we can build our base. Get our constituents behind us.
Yep.
And run it,
We're going to move the White House to Salt Lake.
Yeah. Or somewhere more alpha, like, I don't know, Seattle, or I don't know.
It's funny you put Alpha and Seattle in the same sentence. Those two do not match.
Yeah.
That's...
We could make it, though.
That's like having a fucking peanut butter and pickle sandwich. Just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, so mental health is, men's mental health in particular is, like we said, something that's often kind of pushed to the side, especially as men. Don't really take it into consideration, but I think that should be something that's more widely talked about and kind of discussed.
I think so. I think it needs to be a more forefront conversation.
Yeah.
Instead of us, we all kind of do the same thing of it is what it is, I'll figure it out, all the classic tropes, but are you really figuring it out if you're not dealing with it or being able to talk about it and that sort of thing? And we did the one episode way earlier in the year, and it's still literally one of the most popular episodes on, the whole channel, but it's also the one I got the most backlash from, because I had all kinds of people, family members, friends, and then some other outside people would reach out to me to tell me I was wrong about certain things with men's mental health. And it's like, for one, I think if you're going to tell me I'm wrong about men's mental health, maybe start by actually being a man. Because most of the complaints were from women.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So what were is there something that sticks out?
Not really. I will say the one thing that did stick out that I definitely got backlash on was I had definitely made some, I'll say, unhealed comments about women, things like that. And to credit, I was in a much darker place, I'll say. And wasn't emotionally mature at the time to actually talk about some of those things, and so some of those I would like to clear up, but some of them was just like, you're just a misogynist and this and that and the other. Like, no, but I get why you say that.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought it'd be cool to do another one where we kind of do like a check-in and maybe talk about some of the tactics or skills that we as men use to actually make our mental health better,
Mm-hmm.
not just deal with shit. Just
Yeah.
like, how do you actually function and how do you get past things and shit like that. I thought it'd be cool.
Indeed. So do you want to
So
start off?
I was just going to ask you, how's your mental health, man?
Good. I think it's right now is it's like everybody's mental health. It's always like an ebb and flow. Like
Sure.
right now, I think I'm in a good place. Since we did the last one, there's definitely been like upswings and downswings where sometimes you feel more melancholy or like depressed, and it's mostly most of my issues are just like in my own head. Like
Yeah.
I get into my own head too much and then kind of lose track of what actually what I actually think and what I
Yeah.
actually value, and kind of lose track of that and kind of get in my own head, and then just have to reset and kind of reevaluate and refocus my attentions on, okay, this is what matters and this is what,
Yeah.
reground myself.
I think that's the ticket, is when you, because like you said, it's an ebb and flow. Like your emotions are in a constant state of flux,
Mm-hmm.
and it's unpredictable. You could be in a great mood today, and then tomorrow you're just pissed off for no reason, and then the day after that you're just sad for no reason.
Right.
But yeah, it's realigning yourself with who and what you really are, to where you can get back on track and say, okay, I had a bad day or a bad moment or whatever, but I'm back to where I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the correct direction, in the right lane. And it's difficult to do, and I think everybody kind of has to develop their own like totems to be able to do that. Something that you feel kind of defines you in a way that you can come back to and help kind of, like you said, reground yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, a big part of that is like music. Like there's certain music that is so indiscriminately me that when I'm having a hard time, I kind of go back to that, and then I reconnect with myself.
Yeah.
What do you have?
I'll agree with you on music, but it's not necessarily something that I listen to, but just like so I play the guitar. I've been trying to learn how to play the drums. I have never taken any lessons or anything, but I just so for me is like really just the focus on trying to play an instrument or trying to make music, or like, and I think most of that is just is mainly being creative and letting like a creative
Outlet.
letting a creative energy flow through my brain for a
Yeah.
little while, instead of just being stuck in like doing what I need to do
Yeah.
when I need to do it. It's like, okay, I got this free time, what am I going to do? Okay, well, I'll just let my brain spew out whatever I want to onto
Yeah.
the drums or onto, in a guitar or whatever. And that's, for me, is really therapeutic.
I agree. I think creativity is, so it's, I get my baseline back with whatever totem I use, but to move forward, it's creativity for me. And it doesn't matter if we're doing a podcast or we, ghost hunt or make a video or whatever, that's all creativity. And now I'm kind of like really delving into photography or working more on my writing and things like that, where it's like I'm actually applying myself to make something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that gives you a sense of fulfillment. And then when you're working towards it, like like doing one of these and then editing the video, it doesn't feel like a slog. Like, oh, I just have to fucking get through it. It's still fun because I know that there's an end goal.
Yeah.
Where like when I'm done, I have a finished product and I have something to be proud of, and it transcends kind of just like our conversation into something that maybe somebody else could find some joy or peace or learn something from, and that gives me a really strong sense of fulfillment. Like I'm actually doing something worthwhile.
Yeah.
I'm not just in survival mode, going to work and making money for a fucking corporation that doesn't even know my name. Like I'm making something for my name and your name, and people enjoy it, and or even when I sit down and write something, like it feels very fulfilling to me because I could put something down on paper when it started just a blank piece of paper, and maybe I wrote something cool or something beautiful or whatever. Then you read it back and you go, I just made that out of nothing,
right.
And that feels really good.
It does. I think that's something that I should try to get back into, is just writing again. And I used to have notebooks, like stacks of notebooks, just with like, I used to try to write lyrics, but like most of it was just like, it would start with just writing how I felt at the time, and then like usually would branch into something that I thought was cool, and then I just go on a tangent of like, making something a little more poetic than just jotting down my thoughts and feelings. But yeah, just having that creative flow that just opens up your, I don't know, energy and your ability to take in and put out emotional energy. I think that just kind of opens it up.
Yeah.
In being creative.
I think so, and I've always kind of within myself kind of coined the term emotional alchemy, where if I'm feeling like down or sad or depressed or something, where I can kind of take that emotion and turn it into something, because it's useless to feel like depressed and just lay in bed. You're not helping anybody, you're not doing anything, versus if like you can take whatever mood you're in and even write it down. Like if you're going to write poetry or write a story or whatever, you're going to be influenced by that emotion, so you're taking something useless and turning it into something valuable.
Well, also kind of, so that's what I used to do, is kind of start from, what I'm feeling, emotional, or what I'm thinking about, and then expanding upon that. And not only did it like help push through that feeling, but it was like, okay, and I'm thinking about it, why am I feeling this way? And then so it kind of helped me work my way through the emotion.
Absolutely.
And understand it a lot more. So yeah, I think that writing, if it's journaling, writing poetry, writing, even writing a novel, you can, you're working through emotions, you're going to put emotions into your character. I think that most really successful, even songwriters, have that emotion in their lyrics, and you can feel it. Like you can definitely feel like, okay, this was coming from a place of realness. Like it's really observable and really felt,
and it's really palpable.
Right.
When you hear a song with like a deep lyrics that definitely came from a real strong emotional connection to something, that you don't just hear it and go, oh wow, those are great lyrics. Like you feel it, and that's the cool thing about music, is you don't really listen to music, you experience music. And I could say that's different from most media, because like you watch a movie and you just watch the movie. It's very rare that you experience a movie. But with music, if you're listening to good stuff that you actually connect to, you're experiencing it instead of just hearing it in your ears. It's in your soul, basically.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of times also where you experience different levels of the same song. You'll listen to it one day and feel a certain way about it, and then you listen to it, a few months later, and you're in a different mind space, and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
that's different, you know.
And that's funny because I did that with just the other day. I was listening to an album that I haven't listened to in a long time, and listening to it through like a different lens, because the last time I listened to it was years ago, and now that I'm older and more emotionally mature and things like that, and I actually like read the lyrics, and it's astounding how many I didn't have right, because you read it and you go, he does not fucking say that. But
that's wrong. Whoever wrote this is fucking wrong.
Fucking dumbass. But listening to this album front to back while reading the lyrics to it through my newer emotional lens, it's like, holy shit, this is not even close to the same album that I remember, because I'm interpreting it differently.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because I really discovered, like, oh shit, this is a breakup album. I didn't even realize that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I think that's one thing that I think when a lot of people think about or talk about mental health in general, they talk about, I mean, it's, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like, if you don't really think about it, it's like mental health is maybe like a baseline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mental health. When really that's not the case at all. It's always, like we said, ebbing and flowing, going up and down, depressive states, or more, states where you're happier or more joyful. But I think you have to really look at it from that standpoint of, where am I at now, and is there something that I could possibly do to increase the level of my joy, or increase the level of where I find happiness.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's just, for me anyways, it's just trying to be more present in the moment, and when I'm there, I should be there and not somewhere else.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you're saying, it's trying to make your peaks feel higher and your valleys not feel as low, where, it's kind of like your diet. If you just eat shit all the time, your peaks are really low, and then your valleys are even lower, and you're in them for longer, versus if you make small movements and small changes to your life and your personality and yourself to make the peaks stay higher and the valleys not be quite as low. So when you have a low point, you can grasp, like, this too shall pass, or how do I deal with this in an efficient way to where I can get out of that and go back to the peaks, Yeah. And I think a lot of people struggle with actually just dealing with their emotions.
Yeah.
Like, when you're having an issue, stop trying to quick fix it, or just like ignore it till it goes away. Like, learn to sit with your emotions, learn to deal with yourself.
Experience your emotions.
Yeah. And I think for me, after the last few years of kind of hardship, where I was letting myself feel emotions, but I was expressing them outwardly too much, instead of like learning, why do I feel this way, or how do I feel this emotion more efficiently. And for me personally, I've kind of learned to just like experience my emotions passively, where I can almost disconnect from it and say, yes, I'm feeling sad right now, and this is why. This is the feeling I'm having, and I know it's going to pass. So instead of feeding into it, or like sitting there feeling sorry for myself or whatever, it's just understanding that, yes, this is a wave that I'm feeling, and another wave is going to come, and a different wave is going to come. It's going to pass. But for right now, it's just observe it, acknowledge that it's happening, and accept that it's happening, and it'll go by a lot smoother. And that's with every emotion. Even when you're happy, you have to apply that same logic. Instead of just being like, oh my God, I'm in the greatest mood and this is going to last forever. No, it's going to last like an hour until somebody pisses you off.
It's going to last until these two fucking rock stars that I just drank wear off, until I piss them out.
Until I crash.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And that's something that I'm working on doing now, is just kind of being okay with experiencing my emotions and letting other people know how I'm feeling, like really feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've always struggled with. I think that I won't say most, but a lot of men struggle with.
Absolutely.
Is just letting people know how they actually feel. We talked about this on the last one. It was like somebody asks you how you're feeling, how you're doing, and you say, "Oh, great."
Yeah.
Are you though?
You just lie your face off.
Yeah. It's like it's okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
If I say how you doing, you say, "Well, I'm not doing so good right now." Okay, well, what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot more out of it than just saying, "Great." Okay, cool.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for being able to express that in like if I say, how are you doing? And you're like, "Oh, I'm not great right now." I'm like, "Okay, do you want to talk about it?" And you're like, "Not right now." Okay, cool. At least I know where you're at and how you feel, and I can kind of adjust my approach to you based on that. I'm not going to just be like, "Oh shit, Spencer's having a fucking off moment. I'm just going to stay over here.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with his bullshit."
I got my own shit, bro.
No, it's more like, okay, I understand, you're feeling a certain way, so I'm not going to press you about anything or be like, "No, come on, you got to tell me." Like, no, it's your space when you want to, kind of thing, and just having empathy towards somebody else, just knowing that they're having a hard time or dealing with something in the moment means a lot more than just being like, "Oh yeah, you're good. I know you. You're tough. You'll get through it. Whatever." Pussy. If you were a fucking alpha male like me.
Fucking beta.
If you were a high value man like me, you wouldn't have any of these problems.
You know what? You're having issues. Why don't you buy my 3-week course?
It's $10,000 and I'll do one fucking online call with you for 4 minutes.
It's mostly going to be yelling at you, calling you a fucking pussy.
Oh, God.
No, yeah, I totally had something that I was going to say after lost it.
Yeah, empathy and caring.
Yeah. So, that's what it was. I think for the most part, usually that's all that I need is like validation of like, say you ask me, are you doing okay? And I'm like, not really. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do? Yeah, I'll work through it. And that's all that really most men need is just validation of I'm feeling a certain way. I don't feel good about it. I don't really need anything from you, but I just want you to know that there's something going on. And for me, that's all that it takes is like, okay, I know that I have support if I need it. I'm going to try to get through this. If I do need support, I'll reach out for it. But I just need to go to the gym and get fucking swole. That's it.
Well, I mean, if you'd fucking just take gear, you'd get done faster.
Yeah.
Just fucking pump your ass full of steroids.
Pump my ass full of steroids.
No, I 100% agree with you. And the way you put it into perspective was perfect. Is sometimes we just need validation and understanding of if I'm not in a good place, but I'm trying to work through it. Somebody else just understanding that you're having a hard time and you're trying. It goes a long way versus the classic old quit being a fucking pussy, rub some dirt on it, walk it off. You're being a loser. You're being a low frequency, like whatever. All the stupid fucking adages that you've heard your whole life versus like just having some acknowledgement like you're a human too. You have feelings too.
Yeah.
And they matter. But even doubling down on that is, I've been seeing for years on like TikTok, these videos would pop up all the time of people would ask men like, who do you call when you're having a hard time? And everybody goes, fuck nobody. I got fucking nobody. That's not true. If you have nobody, it's probably because you're a douchebag. Everybody's got people that they can call. We're just all stubborn about it. We're all like...
That's the hard part about it is making the call or making the...
Yeah. That's the hard part is just putting your own hand out there for somebody to grab.
And most of that is just ego.
It is.
It's just...
It's stupid.
Stubborn ego-ness.
Because, I think everybody with a good dad has somebody they can call. Period.
Yeah.
And I know people think like, oh, my dad's a hard ass or whatever. Guarantee you, you could call your dad and he will listen to you.
Yeah.
You may have to tell him, look, I don't want advice. I just want you to listen to me. Just set that boundary. But your dad will. Everybody's got friends. Everybody's got people they call brothers that aren't actually their brothers.
Yeah.
You can call them. You're just being dumb.
100% agree.
It's almost like I knew that because I'm a man.
I think that, yeah, being a man gives us a little bit of insight on men's mental health, but
I mean, ladies, feel free to fucking fact check me.
Considered myself crazy for a long time. Yeah. Another thing for me is, we talked about it on the last one, is like going to the gym, and a lot of it is just I'll have pent up emotions or pent up energy that I'm having a hard time moving through these emotions with. So it helps for me to go to a space where I can just get all of that energy out.
Mm-hmm.
Put all the energy out until I'm just drained, completely drained, and then start from there.
Interesting.
Get a starting point, and then, okay, now I can breathe, think about this. All the stuff that I was thinking about, that I was going through as a hard time, was nothing compared to what I just did. Like, that was hard. That's what real hardness is. And so now I have that baseline. I'm back on the ground, so...
Very interesting.
I think that's where my whole thing with, like, going to the gym or going for a walk or going, doing something physically hard.
Yeah.
Just to get that energy to a space where I'm like, okay, now I can control the energy that I'm putting out. There's really nothing left, so
yeah,
I'm back in my own headspace. Like,
see, I kind of view that differently because for years I haven't been working out like at all, and then just recently in the past couple months, it's just like small kind of micro workouts or like exercises to like kind of rebuild slowly, so I'm not just trying to crash course and then force myself to quit because I'm pushing too hard. And that's what I've always done, like get out of shape, push really hard, I'll see a little bit of result, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. So now I'm trying to just take smaller bites. Like, you got to get healthy in the same way you got sick, a little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But my mentality is, I don't want to do it. I don't find pleasure in working out. I don't enjoy standing in one place and lifting something heavy multiple times. It's just, my mind is too fast for that. But it's forcing myself to do it, having that discipline to do it, because I'm not motivated to do it like ever, but I'm disciplined to do it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, good, I got that out of the way. It's finished. I don't have to do it again the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I just powered through and I feel good about it. I totally could have found 8 million excuses to not do it, but I only found one reason to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my motivation to actually be physical is. And I get tired of being pudgy.
Yeah, I just want to be battle ready.
I want to be an alpha, so I got to get jacked. I like battle ready, though. That's good.
I stole that from Tate, so...
Oh, that's right.
It's probably the best. No, yeah, like this morning, I woke up, we're on a transition from nights to days. And so we worked, 4 graveyard shifts. Got off, stayed up a little bit later than usual into the afternoon, went to sleep, and then threw off my sleep schedule a little bit. So I went to bed at like 9 o'clock last night and woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like wide awake. And was like trying to go back to sleep for a little while. And I was like, fuck it. I want to work out today. I want to go to the gym. So I'm just going to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually what I try to do, is like get up and do it first thing, because I know that session of, and I did Sean T's workout today.
Sean T
from Beachbody.
Oh.
Yeah. He does some hard workouts, dude.
Oh, yeah. I'm a fan of that Billy Blanks Tybo myself.
Oh, yeah. Billy Blank got nothing on fucking Sean T. But it was a lower. I hate doing legs, but it was lower body today, and I fucking did it. I knew it was going to be the hardest thing that I had to do for the day, and but that's I usually try to do it in the first, right when I wake up, because I know that that's going to be the hardest thing I have to do for the day on most days.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's done. Everything else that happens today is fucking whatever.
And I've been adapting that same thing of just do it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Do it before you take a shower. Do it before you go do anything else. I mean, like this morning, I dropped my daughter off at school, and then I came home, and I knew I still had to, pack and get a shower and everything. But I was like, I'm just going to get this done right now. It's either that or I'm going to, do what we always do and, go take a shit and spend 25 minutes on my phone, or I could spend 10 minutes and get a quick workout in, And then I did that, and I was already kind of feeling a little sluggish from my sleep schedule being all fucked up, and I may have slightly overindulged in a little bit of whiskey last night, so it was that's the first way to kick out that shit out of your body, is just get your muscles moving and sweat it out, and then you feel great, and you're not I'm so hungover, I feel like shit. But yeah, it's like you're saying, get it done in the morning, and that's the hardest thing you're going to do for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you also feel accomplished. It's similar to making your bed.
Yeah.
When you get out of bed, you make your bed, and you're like, that's the first thing that's done today. Now I can move on to another task and another one. But yeah, there's something really freeing about just put a workout in.
Mm-hmm.
Your body feels better, your brain feels better. It sucks to just fucking do it, especially cold start, not been up for a while, that sort of thing. But once you do it, you feel way more accomplished.
Yeah.
And that alone is a big factor in your mental health.
I think the weirdest thing is that, most people, even me, myself, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I'm too tired. I don't want to do that.
Tired.
I'm just going to lay here and not sleep, but just lay here for another half an hour instead of just getting up and doing some exercises or stretching even.
Yeah.
But I find when I actually get up and do it, I actually have way more energy than the days that I don't do it.
Yeah.
I think it's just the endorphins and you creating that energy inside your own body. You're going to feel more energized all throughout the day.
Well, there's something to be said for you're bored no matter what, right? Even if you're just laying in bed and the TV's on and you're doom scrolling on your phone, you find you're bored with that.
Mm-hmm.
So just multitask, just put two things together. So I've been spending a lot of time watching videos on photography and photo editing and video editing and all these other things. So it's if I'm literally just sitting here watching TV, why don't I grab that dumbbell and just curl it while I'm watching TV? And then when it starts to really hurt and it's past the burn and into the hurt, okay, stop. Now do the other arm.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get amazing results out of it, but it's you're going to get something. And you're not just laying there stagnant going, oh, I'm tired or I'm bored or whatever. You're making good use of your time.
Right. I usually just work out the one arm when I'm looking at my phone, but I never get a second set in.
Well, I'm ambidextrous, so I'm just equally jacked.
That's why Kara got that walking pad, the little treadmill thing upstairs. So she's whenever I feel like I'm just sitting there doom scrolling, I'll just get on that and walk on it while I'm scrolling.
I know. I'm going to buy one of those.
Dude, it was $200, and then she got it on a Black Friday deal, and it was $100 from Amazon.
Jeez, now I have to have one.
Yeah, pretty cool little thing. Has a little remote.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going to sit there and watch TV, you could do something with it.
Yeah.
Granted, there's days I really just can't justify walking anymore because it's especially when I've come off a set of shifts and I look at my phone and it's I average 12 miles a day.
Yeah.
I'm kind of good on walking for right now, but Yeah, uh, exercise is definitely like a big factor for mental health, and the same goes with your nutrition.
Yeah.
And nutrition also implies alcohol consumption,
Mm-hmm.
because like I know in the days where I drink for too many days in a row, even if it's not like a lot, it still has an effect. I'm getting older, so it's part of it. So spending more days without alcohol definitely has changed a lot. Not just in my mentality, but my physicality, where I don't feel just like dog shit all the time. Because part of that is, we drink when we're bored. That's one of the number one things. Again, you're sitting at home watching TV, nothing's going on. Well, I'm going to have a beer, and that beer turns into 5 or 6, and then you're just like bloated and fat and uncomfortable, and you're like, what was that for?
Yeah.
Versus
Habit.
Yeah, it's habit. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
And once you kind of break that and you realize like I'm way better off not doing that, it just changes everything.
Well, also alcohol is a depressant, so when you drink it, when you drink alcohol for the 1 maybe 2 hours, you are, inebriated. You feel this euphoric sense, but like after you come down, like the day after, even you just feel kind of depressed and feel kind of. So yeah, we've been like kind of cutting way back on alcohol, but nutrition for sure. Like if you eat stuff that feeds your brain and feeds your body, and taking supplements, that's one thing that we kind of touched on last time, was just taking the vitamins that your body needs, vitamin D, vitamin K, magnesium.
Yeah.
That shit like helps your brain so much.
Oh, you should see my vitamin regimen. It's retarded. It looks like this fucking pack of Skittles right here every day. And sometimes it's a slog to get them down, because it's like I can't just pop them in my mouth and then take a drink. I have to take a drink and hold it and then pop them in my mouth, and it's like it's a lot.
Yeah.
But the benefits are great,
Mm-hmm.
because it's vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, iron, fish oil, ginkgo, a nootropic, probiotic. Like all these things actually bring my body to like a nice baseline.
Yeah.
And it's great because you just shit regularly all the time.
You don't have those like explosive shits or the hot snakes.
Or I ate too much cheese, because your body's leveled out. Like it's great. I think everybody should be taking supplements.
Yeah.
And not just like a one a day, because they only have a fraction of what you actually need in them per vitamin for the mass that it is. Like you'd have to take like 6 of them for it to mean anything.
Yeah, I take a 1 a day, but I also drink Shakeology.
Oh, those are great.
And it's got like 72 different, like it pretty much can be considered a meal with like all the nutrients that you.
Well, and they're so well balanced too.
Yeah.
So it's like that works, but just taking one single one a day is not going to do much.
Yeah. So I usually take my multivitamin at night before I go to sleep, with a magnesium supplement to help me sleep, and then when I wake up to go to the gym, I'll drink the Shakeology as kind of a pre, and then I add a scoop of creatine.
Nice.
So
You're jacked as fuck.
on my way to being a fucking alpha.
I'll buy your course. Will you yell at me and tell me I'm trash?
I'm gonna get some fucking muscle pants too. I'm gonna be Rex Kwon Do.
No, dude, if you're going to be an alpha, it's got to be white pants with a white shirt.
Well,
I don't know why that's their uniform, but
I'm gonna find the tightest pants I can find. I might just go spandex, bro.
oh, like you're wearing leggings?
Yeah.
But for men, they're meggings.
Meggings.
You heard it here, folks. Hashtag.
Yep, my course is actually gonna be a yoga course, but it's broga.
I dig it. Stretch, you fucking pussy!
Stretch that fucking butthole.
Is your paperwork in there?
What did he call it?
Hooping?
Hooping?
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Me neither.
think-
Maybe, I don't know. This is my paperwork. Holy shit, that's a novel.
Don't fucking worry about it, bro. Oh, yeah. So I think one thing that really helps my mental health is having a healed perspective on things. Instead of just being bitter or angry about things I can't control in the world or within other people, instead of just being like, for an example, not like being shitty towards women or having an unhealed perspective on women of like, they're all cheaters, they're all pieces of shit, whatever. It's understanding that they are people too, and everybody does their own thing, and everybody's going to do what's in their own best interest, and sometimes you're just the victim of that. Or like when people get overtly involved in like politics, and then they start pointing fingers and going, oh, all these problems are the fucking Democrats' fault and blah blah blah. Having a healed perspective and going, yeah, it's not the best people in the party right now, but it's not the party itself. It's
Right.
not like historically Democrats are always just evil. It's just understanding that it's a factor of its time right now, and it will change. The pendulum always swings the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And you can apply that to so many different things, or even somebody who's done you wrong or somebody you've had a falling out with. You go, that person's a human and they have their own emotions and their own opinions. Like, I'm not going to hate that person even if they did me wrong or whatever. It's just understanding that's just the reality and that's how things went. There's no need to be bitter or angry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do because there's times you just want to be like, fuck that person.
Yeah.
But instead it's like, I don't hate you. And that takes like a mountain of courage in and of itself to just not hate somebody or something because it pisses you off.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I think I adapted that outlook on life kind of at an earlier age, like in my early teens, like trying to figure out why my parents got divorced and like, and I was just looking at it like, okay, well, all these things that I've heard from this person, I've heard from, both sides of this, seems like they're just people. Like,
Yeah.
And it's hard to look at especially as a kid, like look at your parents as just people and realizing that they really don't know what's going on. They're just kind of trying to figure it out as they go.
I think that's
Just
a thing.
like I'm trying to do now with my kids,
I think that's a thing you realize with age, is that nobody's got a fucking roadmap.
Yeah.
We're all winging it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some people are better at winging it than others. That's the cold hard reality of everything.
Yeah.
None of us really have a strong grasp of what we're doing.
Yeah, so I look at people when stuff happens or people do things that I don't understand for myself, like, oh, that's crazy. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Okay, well, keep moving.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I really kind of went on a deep dive fairly recently about forgiveness, because that was something I never really found within myself to be able to do. So I had to understand it from a different perspective, because to me it was like, oh, I forgive you and you're off the hook. And that's just the way we think about it. And when people piss you off or hurt you, you go, I'm not fucking letting you off the hook. You want forgiveness, you have to earn it. But that's really not what it's about. It really is about like learning to let go of whatever trauma you're dealing with that came from another person. You're forgiving them within yourself, not just outwardly telling that person I forgive you. But the thing that I learned about it is you have to really understand that everybody is just doing the best they can with what they have in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to say, well, I wouldn't have done that. Well, you haven't lived that person's life. You haven't had their lived-in experience. So you don't know what they're capable of. You don't know where their heart really is, or how their emotions are, or what kind of trauma they've been through that led them to that decision. So it really is people just doing the best they can with what they have in that moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes people just make mistakes, and Even if they don't own up to it, you have to be able to understand as a mature person that people fuck up. Everybody fucks up. Nobody's perfect. I'm really, really close, but I still, when sometimes I make a mistake. It's usually shoelaces, but
Yeah.
not a big deal.
Shoelaces are hard.
I'm gonna go Velcro from now on. Slip-ons.
Slip-ons. Just go slip on. Get those like elastic things you just put in the shoelace holes that just kind of expand.
Yeah,
Put your foot in.
I dig it.
No, yeah, that's a really profound way of looking at it. It's definitely forgiving somebody is more does more good for yourself than really the other person.
It's true.
In most cases, or a lot of cases, I think that when that happens, the people that have wronged you don't even realize what they've done. Like until you bring it up and like, oh shit, I didn't even. That wasn't something that I was intending to happen.
Yeah.
But even like you forgiving somebody, they don't even. They did the best, so they don't. The other person doesn't see that as a wrong choice. Like you view somebody that made a choice, and in your view, it's a wrong choice or a bad choice or a choice that hurt you. But in their view, it was the best choice that they had. So it's like, taking a step back and looking at the choice that they made from their perspective and saying, okay, well, yeah, I can understand why you made this decision and why you made this choice. And that's hard, but super beneficial for just to understand it for yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
For myself.
Well, yeah, because people will do things and you go, that doesn't make any sense. Like, logically, doesn't add up. It seems cruel and unfair and blah, blah, blah. But really, you also have to think about things that you've done to other people that they may have felt the same way. Mm-hmm. And from your perspective, it was logical and it made sense, or you had an emotional response, or whatever the reason was. You'll find a way to validate it, and you have to realize that other people are validating their own bullshit at the same time. So nobody's innocent in this world. It's kind of like we all fuck up. So give people grace, even when they don't fucking deserve it. Sometimes you have to just give people grace and say, I get it,
Yeah.
You did what you did, and I reacted the way I reacted, and this is where I'm at. I mean, I'll never go out of my way to tell anybody that I forgave them. Like, if you want to know, you can come ask me, but I'm not going to be like text somebody in the middle of the night and be like, hey, by the way, I forgive you. Because most likely they're going to be like, fuck you. I don't care,
Yeah.
So it's not about them, it's about you.
Right.
And carrying around resentment towards somebody is like dragging a fucking bag of bricks with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And I just got to a point where I didn't want to do it anymore. I don't want to be pissed off at X, Y, or Z person. Or I had a whole fucking list of people I was mad at, and it's just like, why? What good is that doing me?
Yeah.
Am I benefiting a single thing from that besides, like, when I think about it, I get irritated? Nothing.
Yeah.
There's no benefit.
So I had a coworker that I used to work with, and this was just like 2 years ago, maybe. Yeah, like 2 years ago. I haven't seen him for probably 7-8 years, and worked with him quite a bit for a number of years, and never really had any issues with him. I think that he was struggling with alcohol addiction at the time, and he called me out of the blue one day, like answered the phone. I was like, hey, hello? And he's like, hey, is this Spencer? And I was like, yeah. He's like, hey, I just wanted to call and apologize for if I ever acted in a certain way, or, and I was like, yeah, I never really had any issues, or, I accept the apology, but I never felt wronged by you at all. He's like, I just am kind of trying to make amends with people that I, thought of as, important to me. And
interesting. Was this somebody we both work with?
No.
Oh.
It was from when I worked at Got Junk.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, man, as far as I'm concerned, we're good. Like, so I just wanted to clear it up, and if you ever need anything, just give me a call. And I was like, Okay,
That's
cool.
powerful.
It was really like eye-opening to see somebody do that. I don't know if it was like part of a 12-step program or what, but I didn't ask. But it was a big gesture.
Yeah, and
And
that takes a lot of courage to be
Yeah.
able to pull something like that off.
yeah, and just to call, like I said, I hadn't talked to him in 7 years prior.
That's cool. I hope he's doing good.
I hope so too. I haven't talked to him since, so maybe I should call. Hey, bud, we still good?
Yeah, just making sure you're hunky dory there. No, I think apologizing, swallowing your pride, and apologizing adds so much value to your character. And it's one of those things that sometimes there are certain people I feel like maybe I should apologize to, and then I go, but then it would just kind of drudge up, bullshit or whatever, and I go, there's really no point. But when you know you've wronged somebody, you know you've wronged somebody, versus just being like, hey, do you remember that one time I was drunk and I called you a piece of shit? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was just joking. Well, and I find myself like, I'll apologize for little things in the moment, so I don't have to like deal with the guilt of it for a while. Like, case in point, this was a few months ago. We were all in the break room and we were playing a game, and like somebody else is trying to give me clues about the answer, and Yeg is like yelling right next to me, and I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then I instantly apologized because like as soon as it left my mouth, I regretted it because I was like, God, that was so fucking rude of me. I should have just been like, "Hey, man, it's my turn. Shut up." Instead, I fucking yelled at him. And so I was like, I'm sorry. That was mean of me, And there's weight to that, to the guilt that you feel when you do even the slightest thing wrong. So it's like, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to make amends right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and pay off that debt.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking out a credit card, charge it up, and then pay it off the next day.
Yeah.
You just get credit points.
So I do that. I've been known to do that at work. Like, lose my temper and then tell somebody something in an aggressive manner.
I've never done that.
But yeah, like, for the most part, as of now, it's like maybe 10, 15 minutes later, I'll go up and, hey, sorry about that. It was just in the heat of the moment. My bad.
Outburst.
Yeah. I don't fucking hate you. Like I said, that I don't want you to go kill yourself.
I also don't hope you get raped. I was just joking about the whole thing.
Unless you want to. I don't know.
That's your thing. I'm absolved of it. Well, and it's even some of the conflicts I've had with people where I should just totally fucking hate them, but I don't. And, those people, I wish them well. I don't hate them, but there are certain people that it's like, we're kind of just done.
Yeah.
I don't want you pulling on my energy. I don't want to make amends with the, relationship or friendship or whatever it was. Like, we're good, we're clean, but we're not going forward together anymore. You're on your path and I'm on mine.
Right. And that's fair.
It is fair. And some people tend to not like that because they feel like, well, you forgave me and I forgive you. There's no reason you shouldn't be my friend or whatever it is. Like, no, there's no benefit for me to be your friend.
Yeah,
so
why should we be? It's okay if we're not friends.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not going to affect either one of our day-to-day lives if we are or we're not.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. But people tend to get butthurt about it.
Yeah.
Like, you owe me. No, I don't. Promise.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I totally agree with that. I think that respecting your own boundaries, and then it's okay for people to respect their own boundaries with.
Absolutely.
If they don't want to be your friend or you don't want to be their friend, then that's great. Like, less energy you have to put out to try to fake it.
Yeah, and it's like I have a large capacity to have a large amount of friends. It doesn't mean I need you to be one of them.
Yeah.
There's almost 9 billion people on the planet. I got lots of options.
Yeah, I think that is a very healthy thing to do is cut people off that are just taking the energy and not giving anything in return. Like, you're not getting fed the energy that you're putting out. So it's okay to not indulge in that.
I agree, and I think it's also okay to cut people out in a moment where there's certain people that are just kind of like the constantly bitter and angry type, and they want to come over and leak that energy into somebody else's energy so that they feel the same, and then they don't feel so alone. And it's like, no, I don't want to partake.
It's like a reverse energy vampire.
Yeah, let me give you all this negative
Yeah.
shit. And it's like, especially when you're having a good day and you're in a good mood, and then people come up, oh, you know what so and so said? I don't care. Sincerely, keep it away from me.
Yeah.
And it people take it as offensive, and it's like, dude, I'm not trying to buy into your gossip. I don't want to hear a hyperinflated story. I don't want any of that. I'm in a good mood. I'm not going to let anybody fucking ruin it. Come talk to me tomorrow. I'll be ready.
Yeah. I'll be in a super shitty mood tomorrow. No, I totally understand that also. And especially at work, like, people talk and complain about shit that's going on, and I don't mind listening to it, but I just have the mentality of like, fuck it, dude, let's just go do some stupid shit.
Yeah. I'm the same, and I understand within myself that I oftentimes have to have like a lightning rod for my frustration or whatever, or like I have to have kind of an enemy in a way, but not somebody I want to go out of my way to destroy, somebody I could just kind of point the finger at from time to time, which is very kind of petty and immature on my behalf. But at the same time, I know that it's a controlled thing where if I'm kind of mad, I can direct it at somebody in my own mind without being like, who's a real fucking piece of shit? And my shoe came untied, so I'm fucking mad and I want to bitch at somebody. It's that guy over there. Fuck that guy in particular. Instead, it's just like kind of a jokey thing that I do with myself, where if something goes wrong or whatever, like, Foreman wants me to splice. Fucking Scott. It's his fault. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a control. It's not like it's actually that person's fault. It's just I'm making a joke to appease myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stitch and I have been doing that. Actually, we'll just find somebody on another shift and then blame them for the day.
Oh, it's always C shift for me every time.
Even it has nothing to do with, that person probably wasn't even there for a week, and then you just blame them anyway. So, like you said, you just have a target, and then it's just like a verbal punching bag for the moment.
That's really what it is. Even if
really
you
don't care,
Yeah, even if you don't hate that person or have any discontent, it's perfect. A verbal.
It's usually
bag.
a person that we actually like.
Yeah.
But it's their fault anyways.
It's kind of like all the memes about, like the meme of the dude riding the bike and then he falls over and he's holding his knee and it's fucking Obama.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
Exactly.
But now it's Trump. Anything is wrong, it's Trump's fault.
Fucking Trump, dude.
Fucking Trump.
We should be sitting in that fucking Oval Office right now.
Fuck it. Voter fraud stole the presidency right from under us.
Yeah.
With our one vote.
I think we might have 2 next time.
For sure.
Maybe 3. We'll get Kara to vote for us too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, if we don't have 10, we got to reassess the friend group thing.
Yeah. I mean, so I saw Sean yesterday. He came walking up, and he's like, "That's fucking wild, bro." I was like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Lucifer had more votes than you and Dave."
Lucifer, just in case.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh shit, yeah."
Well, that was a registered person to be voted for. We weren't registered.
Yeah.
So I get it. It's fine.
Maybe a lot of people didn't know how to spell Dave or Spencer correctly, so.
My middle name is Lucifer, so confusion, I understand.
David Lucifer Brown.
It's true.
We'll have 2 or 3 next time.
Yeah, at least. I just want enough to where, when you look at the expanded view of who got voted for in Utah, that it's just like, we're at the very, very, very bottom.
We made the list.
We made the list. That's all we gotta do. We put a fucking dent in it. So one thing I did for myself that, well, I learned about myself that really helps me in my mental health is learning, but also learning from much smarter men than me. So there was a few people I really kind of clung on to, like Marcus Aurelius in his statues on like stoicism and being a good leader and that sort of thing. And uh, I don't know why I'm struggling. I have it written down right here. There's Alan Watts. Have you ever heard of him?
Remind me.
He's a lot in the mind space of let go, and the universe will take care of things, and things are going to be what they will be, and what have you. But mostly the principle of let go and stop trying to control everything. So that was really profound for me. Or
I'm gonna say that Joe Rogan talks about Alan Watts.
we may have. I don't actually listen to Joe Rogan as much as it seems. It's like if he's got somebody interesting on that I want to hear, that's about it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's usually.
I don't do any of the fight companions,
Me
or
either.
when it's the same person who's been on 18 times. I'm good.
Yeah, the only like reoccurring one that I will usually listen to is the Protect Our Parks.
Yeah,
So
I
those guys
I
are
get
fun.
that one, and Mike Baker,
Yeah,
the CIA guy,
yeah.
because he's actually really intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's like Joey Diaz, I love Joey Diaz, but I'd kind of rather hear somebody else.
Yeah.
There's only so many cocaine stories.
Well, it's Joey Diaz, so he's done quite a few. No, yeah, I think that that's a great way to better your own alignment, or like, you know, guide your compass is to look at other people who have been successful at,
Oh, sure.
you know, navigating
Well,
treacherous times.
yeah, and having different sets of principles that you can take from. You know, you think of like Stoicism is essentially dealing with yourself but being quiet about it. You know,
Mhm.
being like the strong silent type, and it's that works for a certain percentage, but then there is a percentage that you do have to be able to talk about things. But you have to be able to talk about them in a meaningful way. So Stoicism is like 90% works and then 10% of the time doesn't.
Yeah.
Or Alan Watts is let go and things will be what they'll be. It's like that works most of the time because you can't control most things, but sometimes you can control things. It's cherry picking what works for what situation. But it again, it's the learning aspect. It's the more you know, the better equipped you are to deal with any given situation or any given wave of emotions. You go, okay, today I'm feeling depressed, but I shouldn't talk about it because I know it's a fleeting thing. My body chemistry is all fucked up, so I'm gonna use that kind of like stoic method and just kind of keep it to myself and process it and deal with it on my own. Versus, I'm really depressed today and I need somebody to help me.
Yeah.
You know, so stoicism is not gonna work. Maybe I need to try Jordan Peterson's version of, you know, therapy or whatever, or talking to a specialist or somebody who can actually help you. It really is just a matter of the more knowledge you have, the better these transitions from one emotional state to the other is going to go because
Yeah.
you know how to handle it.
Yeah. Well, also knowing that you're not alone in feeling these emotions and feeling certain ways about whatever it is,
Yeah.
and seeing that there are other people who have talked about, you know, feeling similarly, and you've used these different tools to
Mhm.
get through it. Definitely learning and reading and finding out what works best for you, because everybody's different, you know. Some people probably feel like they need to talk about things more than others. Like, I personally internalize a lot of stuff and then kind of use both of those tools, stoically keep it to myself, work through it in my head, and then get to a point where it's like, does this shit really even matter?
Yeah.
And then let it go. Like,
exactly.
so yeah, learning different tools and different ways to deal with things is super beneficial.
It is, and it's fun to learn something.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very understated thing with everybody's mental health, where I'm going to say too many people in this world think that they're way more intelligent than they really are, despite being incredibly, like, not well versed in anything. You know, most people don't actually read or listen to a long form conversation or things like that. A lot of people take snippets and take it as information, and it's like, no, that's the spark. The information is the fire.
Yeah.
So it's forcing yourself to actually sit down and consume knowledge is actually really good for everybody, and I think everybody should do it more often.
Yeah, I need to go buy some books. My oldest was telling me I need to read more. I was like, why don't you shut the fuck up?
Subscribe to my course.
Yeah. Why don't you take my 8-week course and give me $10,000 and shut the fuck up?
Fucking pussy.
But yeah, I was. They were talking about this bookstore they went to. And she was like, they had a lot of cool shit that I think that you'd be interested in, like esoteric and a lot of books on like paranormal stuff and like there's this little bookstore up in Mill Creek. They're like, you should go in there. They have a lot of cool shit. So yeah, mysticism and books on psychedelics and shit like that.
Well, it's actually an enjoyable thing, and I think of reading in terms of the same way I think about like working out, where it's really hard to do, like to force yourself to do it, but once you do it, you're like, oh, this is actually nice. This is enjoyable.
Yeah.
My problem with reading is it has to be dead fucking quiet, because every little sound distracts me, and then I'm just like, I can't get into it.
Squirrel.
So it's yeah.
Yeah.
I can basically only read like a handful of times a week when it's just like there's literally nobody around. So I keep like a book in the truck most of the time. So when I'm, waiting to pick up my daughter at school or whatever, I read that book until I finish it, and then I get another one and put it in there. Or pull up to the parking lot at work, and it's like, oh, I'm here early. I'm going to sit here and read a chapter or two. So it's really nice, and I recommend everybody do it.
Yeah.
Because it is good for your brain. It's good for you to actually sit and focus on one thing and consume information.
Yeah.
But I also think there's another thing that I personally like to do that I think more people should do, but a lot of people are incapable, is I spend a good amount of time just sitting by myself, no TV, no music, no phone, just like in the dark, at night. Just sit there quietly in the dark with yourself with nothing but your thoughts. Just do it for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's astounding how many people are incapable of just being bored. But when you do that, you learn that boredom is actually a great tool.
Yeah.
Because you're there with yourself and only yourself. And that's the only person you're with 100% of the time, so you might as well get to know it better. You know what I mean? And so that's one way I actually do kind of like a self-check-in. So, after work or whatever, I'm sitting in my room, doors closed, lights are off. Before I turn on the TV, just sit there in silence in the dark for 10 or 15 minutes and just be alone with my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do at first, and then you get used to it, and you kind of look forward to that time of the day where it's like, it's a peaceful moment,
I do something similar, but it's usually on the drive home from work. I don't listen to the radio. I don't listen to anything. I just kind of go through shit that happened throughout the day in my own mind. Sometimes I'll even have a conversation with myself. Like,
I talk to myself a lot.
Driving down the road, I got a half an hour drive, so it's just having a conversation with myself about something that was either bothering me or like, whatever it is.
Or just something that's on your mind.
Yeah.
Well, I do that all the time. And I know it sounds like sociopathic or whatever, but I literally talk out loud to myself in the car, because it's like, for one, sometimes I need expert advice, so I talk to me.
Yeah.
No, it really is just like talking out the situation outwardly, because your mind can process it to a degree, but verbalizing it kind of, it's almost like writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more in stone, when you, like if I'm driving home and I go, okay, I have tomorrow off, so when I get up, I'm going to do this and do this and do this, and I make my plan, then it's like, that's written down. It's fucking on the agenda. It's going to happen because I talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just like, oh, I really should wash my bedding tomorrow, and then you don't do it. Versus I tell myself I'm going to wash my bedding tomorrow. You're solidifying it,
Yeah.
And expert advice.
Expert advice is crucial. I mean, I could probably talk my way through brain surgery.
Just cut that and see what
As
happens.
long as it's like a duck or something. And you're planning on having duck for dinner.
Let the intrusive thoughts win. Ew, it's squishy.
Ew. Now, yeah, another thing is trusting in the people that you are, so, like for me as my wife, like a very underutilized thing for me is talking with her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, something that I've been working on being better about is just, like we talked about last time, checking in with each other. And just like kind of reaffirming our relationship and our spaces together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I think maybe a lot of men struggle with also, is just, you have this person that is your spouse and is there for you, but you don't utilize their expertise in dealing with emotions. But I've, something that I've been trying to do a lot more recently was just, being open and honest with her with, how I'm feeling and what I'm going through and how I'm dealing with it. And, usually it's just, if there's anything I can do, let me know. And that's all that I need, really.
Well, and I had a huge problem with that, with my ex, because she'd bring it up regularly, like, you never talk to me. You don't tell me, what you're thinking or what's going on or whatever. And I'm like, I'm cool. Everything's fine. But really what it was, and I should have been honest about it at the time, was like, when I talk to you, I don't feel heard. I feel like you respond with judgment, or you're not letting me actually fully say what I need to say because you're interrupting me, or the myriad of problems that came with our lack of communication skills that we both had. And really what it needed to be was, I needed to be able to communicate what I needed to communicate. So instead, I lead up with, okay, I'm going to communicate, but what I need you to do is just listen to me fully. And that's really what I need, is just for you to listen and not have a judgment or an opinion. I just want to vent.
Yeah.
Or I have this problem and I need to say the whole thing before you say anything, and then you tell me your suggestion. So it was just like not having the building blocks for, efficient communication between the two of us. And a lot of that was my fault because I just didn't try.
Yeah.
Because she would come home and tell me about her day and all these other things, and I'd come home and she'd be like, how's your day? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Even though I just had a shit day or whatever, but I felt like I was just burdening other people by complaining about it, or I was just being a bitch by complaining about it. Instead, what I should have done was, yeah, I had a really shitty day today, and I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, I had a shitty day. Let me fucking tell you something, and just not being so like stiff about it, and be able to outwardly communicate what I needed to at the time. But in there, also communicating to her what kind of communication I needed. Like I said, like, oh, I need to vent, or I need advice, or I just need affirmation or validation, that kind of thing. And I think I still don't do it to this day, but I don't have anybody to like communicate it to. But I think if we could do that and have that understanding, like, we'd all be able to talk a lot better. Like if you came to me and you're like, I'm going through a hard time and I just need you to listen to me. Like, you bet, let's go.
Yeah.
And it would be so much simpler instead of like you complaining to me about whatever's going on with you. I go, here's what you need to do, because nobody really wants that. Nobody wants like somebody else to tell them what to do.
Apparently, there's a lot of people that want that. They buy all these kinds of courses from fucking Tate and.
That's the stupid people.
No, yeah, I agree. I think that Karen and I talked about this one time. Could have been on one of the episodes, where men and women just have different styles of communication, whereas we had the same problem. Like, Kara would come home and she would vent to me about stuff, and for me, and it's like her coming home being emotional and then venting to unburden herself of this emotional baggage that she's carrying around, or emotional energy that she's carrying around. Mm-hmm. Me being in my logical mind is like, okay, I'm going to fix this. And now the problem is shifted from her. Now it's my problem to try to fix her problem. And so it was a lot of times I would get frustrated with her for coming home and telling me these things, thinking that she wants me to fix it for her.
Yeah.
And where really it's just her letting me know that, she had a tough day and this is what happened. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I can fix this. Let me help you.
Yeah.
And not, just taking a step back and being like, okay, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we as men do. We fix things.
Yeah.
So it's in our nature to just automatically kind of post up and go, okay, I could do this, this, and this for this problem, even though it's not my problem at all.
Right.
And I think all humans do this, where we try to communicate in the way that we want to be communicated to. Whereas like my ex would come home and vent about her day or whatever, and I wouldn't have any feedback. I would just listen. And if I would give her like affirmations that I'm still listening, like, oh, what? No way, get the fuck out of here. Or that's crazy. Or, just to show that I'm actually paying attention. I'm just not offering any feedback because I don't feel like you want any feedback. Mm-hmm. But really that was what I wanted. I wanted her to listen to me in that same way. It's kind of the same way with like love languages, where if your love language is physical touch but hers is words of affirmation, you're giving her physical touch thinking that you're showing love, but that's really the way you want to receive love. Mm. We're just wired to do that because humans are kind of innately selfish.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people struggle with viewing that other person, or not viewing the other person, but like reciprocating in the way that they understand better.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you're more of a touch person or a, words of affirmation person, and so you give those things because that's what you think that they need.
Yeah, it's because it's what you would want,
right?
And so you feel like naturally that's what other people would want, but in reality other people are different. But I think in a lot of times we as people just don't have the capacity to actually like delve into that. We just think we're doing a good thing. Mm-hmm. But we're just doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's weird. We're all fucking stupid. I mean, I'm from planet Krypton, so I'm exempt, but...
You mortals are fucking dumb.
You pathetic fucking losers. Look at you guys signing up for Wes Watson's classes and shit when I'm right here.
So crazy.
It is crazy. So I think... For me, one of my most important skills, and I want to hear what your most important skill is for your own mental health, but mine personally is isolation. And I've learned this from going to therapy because my therapist was asking me about if I self-isolate. And this is, yeah, like a lot. And she's like, do you actually get anything from it? And I was like, it's what I feel I need to do fairly regularly. But I don't feel any better when I stop, when I come out of that and become social again. And she's like asking me all these questions, how long, or what kind of isolation? Are you just completely cutting everybody off, or is it like you just don't want to talk to anybody in person? And we really delved into it a lot. And she kind of helped me understand that I was doing it wrong. So isolation is part of my personality because, as she put it in a perfect perspective for me, of like, when you're dealing with people, your social battery drains. So you as a person feel you need to isolate to kind of recharge your social battery. But if you're not doing things while you're isolating yourself to recharge yourself more efficiently, like, you're just going to drain fast again. And so typically when you self isolate, you'll grab a drink and you'll shut your door and you're watching TV and you're feeding off of social media and negative shit that you're watching on TV. You're not actually making good use of your time with yourself. And so that was one thing I learned, and that's part of what kind of pushed me into reading or spending time alone in the quiet and things like that, where it's like, when I have those moments with myself, that I have to make them worthwhile. I have to actually do something that's going to accomplish something instead of just sit there and veg out, because you're not it's not conducive to actually recharging my battery. So there has to be a reason for me to sit alone,
Mm-hmm.
not just sit alone just to sit alone. And there's actually a Godsmack lyric that, when I heard it, it just like rang true to me. And the lyric says, "Internal instincts craving isolation for me to grow," which sounds completely backwards, but that's exactly how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Because I grow more when I'm by myself, because I'm learning, or I'm feeding my emotions in a correct way, instead of forcing myself to go spend time with people when I don't want to spend time with anybody. Yeah. What's yours?
Probably the same thing. Um, like I said, I usually, if I'm having a hard time with something, I'll focus my energy into, like I said, you know, playing around on the guitar. It's by myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm focusing this thing into a creative space, and using this emotional energy, or this negative or pent up energy, to not just sit there, but like go to the gym, or go sit down at the drums and literally bang it out, like usually by myself. And then after I'm halfway through that session, I get this release of like, ah, fuck, whew, and then I just start putting in work, like,
Yeah.
working, and then feeling that positive energy starting to grow. And that's probably what it is getting rid of that negative energy, or the pent up frustration, to a baseline where you can refocus, and then you start looking up at something, and then just focus, and then move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that shift in both of those things, and I think that's probably why I use those tools for my own mental stability.
Yeah. Funny enough, the song that those lyrics came from is called "Realign,"
Fitting.
but it's also the song that we talked about where, every time he passed through New Orleans, he was like, have all that experience and all
Yeah.
that. So kind of cool. Those things finally came back around.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah, that's a great song, by the way. But yeah, I think there's something to be said for isolation. And if you don't think about it with such a negative connotation of isolation, because you think about that word and you think about like prisoners being thrown in a hole, or being on a desert island by yourself, and it's not like that at all. And it's like I said, the reality of it is you are the only person you're going to spend your entire life with, no matter what. People come and go in life, whether it's people move away, or relationships end, or somebody passes away. You are the only person that you will be with from the time you're born to the time you die.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well learn to be good with yourself.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just like the smartest tactic, because you're not predicating anything within yourself on being with somebody else.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird to look at people that I don't know. For me, it's weird to look at people that just really are not okay with being by themselves.
It's sad, really.
Yeah. And it's I don't. Kara and I do this quite a bit. We'll just go, like especially if we go out to eat, we'll usually just sit there, talk a little bit, and then just start kind of watching other people.
Yeah.
And just people watch, and I don't know, kind of judge them. Not really judge, but like
I do that. I'm not gonna lie, I do it. Fuck them.
Maybe just like make up a narrative about what they're doing and who they are, and
It's fun.
yeah, give them an inner dialogue.
So one thing I do is, I haven't done it a lot lately, but like, I'll take myself out. Like I'll go out to grab something to eat by myself. I'll go sit at a restaurant by myself, or I'll go to a movie by myself, or whatever. And I'll do these things, and I'll look around, and I'll see people sitting together, but everybody's just staring at their phone. And I look at them and I go, these people feel just as alone as I do, sitting here in this booth by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is I'm okay with sitting here by myself. Like those people have to kind of cling to other people and still feel alone. And that just like shows that they're not developed enough to really understand like being alone is not terrible, but you're with somebody, you shouldn't feel alone.
Yeah.
And it's especially bad, and I'm going to generalize here, and I know I'm going to get a lot of fucking backlash, but women have a hard time being alone.
Yeah.
And you see it a lot, like women get out of a relationship and they're in another one right away. And that one ends and they're in another one right away. Versus really taking that time to be by themselves and learn more about themselves and what they really want and how they really feel. They just jump from one partner to another one to feel validated.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a benefit that men aren't like super sought after creatures like women are, where it's like being alone isn't always a choice. Sometimes there's just no option. But it's better for you because now you have to do it. Now you have to do the work and you have to go through it and you have to fix yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even in the times where I feel like lonely, I think back on that and I go, it has done me well.
Yeah.
I can't even complain.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's where the stigma of like being a lone wolf comes from.
The alpha wolf.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can see like girls go to the bathroom, and so they all go at the same time. And maybe that's just for like because maybe like at a bar there's creepy guys about, but like I always thought that was weird.
Well, even like Jeff's wife, when we go out and she has to go to the bathroom, Jeff like escorts her there and waits and then brings her back. Like I pride myself on being fairly like gentlemanly, but if my old lady was like, "Will you walk me to the bathroom and wait?" No, fucking go to the bathroom yourself. You're an adult.
You want me to wipe too? Jeez.
You want me to make sure you wash your fucking hands?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe she might get lost, so. Maybe if Kara was like super drunk, I'd probably walk her to the bathroom too.
Yeah, different story. But any other given moment, she could take herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is a thing with women, and it's not said to be offensive or anything, but they really do just tend to predicate their happiness on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they aren't happy, they leave those people and go for other people. It's a new supply thing. It's like borderline narcissistic.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that that's only women, though. I would say that men probably do that too. Certain men.
Oh, I
also
agree.
Do that. But it's definitely a characteristic trait that is, I don't know, definitely not alpha. So
No,
I don't fox with it.
Yeah, no, it's like narcissistic in nature. And I'm not saying that all women are narcissists or all people that do that are narcissists. It's just those people have work to do within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I'm going to leave that alone before I get 85 comments telling me what a fucking piece of shit I am.
You misogynistic fucking alpha piece of shit.
Well, I bought the fucking Wes Watson course, and this is who I am now.
If you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself.
You're wasting my fucking time. So, giving grace, again, just because it was my note and it was the first thing I looked at, and I'm going to touch on the next note right after. But yeah, giving people grace, even like what we just talked about with people who have to jump from partner to partner or person to person to, you know, kind of get that validation or not feel so alone. I give those people grace too. It's difficult being alone,
Mm-hmm.
but it is very rewarding if you can do it. But the next note is super important. Rage dancing.
I think it's a super underutilized tool.
Just park your Volkswagen Bug in a warehouse that magically has a big light bar on, and just
You can run, jump off of things, and put your knees in the air. Anything that really, interpretive dance the fuck out of your emotions. If you're in a forest, if you're in a warehouse, you start getting these emotions, you just rage dance it.
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of times I'm in sitting in traffic and I'm just like,
Well, you hear people talk about happy dance all the time.
yeah, why can't
That's
you do
a
an
normal
angry
thing.
dance?
Rage dance.
Yeah. There's a horny dance you can do too.
Yeah, Pat did the moonwalk the other day.
Did he really?
Yeah, because we were, starting up the line and we were in a good mood, and he did the moonwalk, and I immediately pulled out my phone and showed him. I was like, dude, it reminded me of this, and it was like a video of Good Morning America. It was a Halloween episode, and they're all dressed like Star Wars characters. And the Ewoks were like moonwalking.
Get fucked, nerd.
Like, same energy, bro.
I was going to say, it's probably really easy for him to moonwalk. I mean, being that much closer to the ground. Low center of gravity. It's science.
Science rules.
We got to get Pat on here one day.
We do.
If he would ever quit being a bitch.
I think that he just doesn't like leaving his house. I think he's got the same thing that Scott has.
Scott's getting better about it.
Yeah.
He really is. I would say we could just take all the gear over there to Pat's house. But really what needs to happen is Pat just needs to leave his fucking house.
Yeah.
It's not conducive to be a homebody 100% of the time.
No. I'm 75% of the time. Okay.
That's fair.
25%. Get out there and experience the world. Do a podcast. Moonwalk in somebody else's basement.
I don't know any one person that has done an episode on this podcast that didn't have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
Or they just didn't want to tell us.
Yeah. True.
I bet Colby did go home and was like, babe, they kept saying I was Japanese. They called me a racist.
They call me a racist Asian.
I mean, they're not wrong, but...
Like, no, we didn't. We called you a Nazi Japanese.
Yeah. You're like the living embodiment of the Axis powers.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. So, one thing I think helps my mental health is leadership. Being a lead over the crew that I'm over, where I have kind of cultivated a really good team that work together, and I think a lot of the people on that team have never actually worked as a team, so they find a little bit more value in it, and it's nice to be able to kind of have that ability to bring people together that shouldn't even be able to work together, but now they do, and they work efficiently together. And it is nice to kind of also receive that respect from people that you've earned and then they go out of their way to show that respect by just, doing a good job and things like that. And I think that's a very underrated thing that men should look more into, is just the aspect of how leadership can improve your own mental health. But you have to be a good leader to do that. And for that, you have to be a little more internal to go, why am I not a good leader? Because we all know people at work that are like, I should be a lead. Like, why? You barely know the process and you're a piece of shit. Like, why should you be a lead? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing against those people, but reality is harsh.
It's easy to sit back and pick apart what you view as somebody doing incorrectly when you don't know what it is they're actually doing.
I deal with it all the time.
And I've, had leadership roles at every job that I've worked at, pretty much. And you do have that, reward of having people that look up to you, but it also puts you in the mind space of wanting to be able to answer the questions that they have, or like, you don't want to be put in the situation where they're asking you, hey, what do we do here? And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it kind of drives you to learn more and
it does,
and be a better person at whatever you're doing, better leader at whatever you're doing.
Well, I think as long as you come at it from a position of being humble, where in those situations where somebody will come up and ask me about something and I don't know, I don't bullshit my way through it. I'm dead honest. Like, I honestly don't know the answer to that question, but I know who we can go ask right now and get that answer, and we can learn it together.
Yeah.
And there's power in that, because people in your charge see you as a person, and you're not like fallible, but you're also not all knowing and not all powerful. You treated them with enough respect to tell them the truth, and then you went and learned this thing together. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go learn and then I'll come explain it to you. Like, no, let's go together.
Yeah. I think even in that situation, like, they come up, have a question, even asking for a suggestion of like, I'm not really sure what to, I'm thinking maybe this or that. What do you think about that? And then they give you, a few suggestions, and then at that point you say, that's why you're fucking not a lead, you piece of shit.
You fucking retard.
No, I mean, definitely taking a step back and letting ideas come from everyone.
Absolutely.
Is a super great trait to have as a lead or in a leadership role.
But if you're bringing an idea to somebody in a leadership role and they explain why it won't work, let it the fuck go.
Yeah.
Don't beat a dead horse.
Also, like, if they clearly you didn't understand something about something that's happening or is going to happen, so if they explain that to you, then okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, it's the people you're leading also have to be a little humble about it.
Yeah.
I just try to look at it from an aspect of, if any one of these people in my charge had to be my boss, would I like it? Would I be able to respect them and work for them? And so a big part of why I do the things I do is to cultivate them to be a good leader themselves one day, to where if I get demoted and one of them gets promoted into my spot, now I work for them, I would want to be treated well. I would want to be treated the same as I treat them, and I would want them to be able to handle and take care of things the same way I do, if not better. And people say your dad is the only man in your life that actually wants to see you do better than him. Like, that's not true. I want everybody to do better than me.
Yeah.
And I think we should all have that same perspective of, like, it's not a competition. We're all going to meet at the top eventually.
Yeah.
Like, we're all going to the same place, into a grave. Like, do the best you can.
Yeah. And I've heard a lot of people at work talk about, like, they'll go to somebody and ask a question, and they'll be told, don't worry about it. I'll deal with it.
I hate that
and
so
it's
much.
Like, yeah, these people are gatekeeping. They don't want to give the information out. And it's like, maybe they just didn't know and didn't want to let you know that they didn't know. But yeah, I try to make it a point when somebody has a question, if I know the answer or if I have a good idea about what the answer is, let them know and explain everything about it that I know so that they have the information now also.
Yeah.
So that, like, if it happens again, they don't have to come to me this time. They can just kind of deal with it.
Exactly. And I do the same thing of, like, somebody will text me, oh, there's this alarm on the Foxborough. So I'll go back there and, like, hey, come here, let me show you what this is. And just like the other day, we had a TC alarm going off. Jordan was back there, he texted me, and it's like, okay, this is what it is, this is how you find it. So when this happens again, you can go find it, leave the screen up, let me know, I'll call the electrician.
Yeah.
So it's giving you more authority over your own line.
Right.
And people love that shit. Like, they feel empowered.
Yeah.
And empowering people gets them to do more shit.
Yeah.
And pushes them to do more in the long run. And I always hated that tribal knowledge. Like, don't worry about it. You don't need to know that. You're a fucking operator. Shut up. Like, okay.
I had a similar situation with Jeff the other day. It was a gas fluid analyzer alarm went off. He was like, I've never seen that before. I just wanted to let you guys know something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of walked him through, showed him where it was on the screen, took him back there, showed him the what to do, and like, it's just reading how much oxygen is being put out of the off gas in the incinerator. Has to be above this level.
Yeah.
This is where you read that level on here, and then, I don't expect you to do it, but if you want to do it, you can do it. But yeah, just always let us know that something's going on.
Yeah, and that's the way to be.
Yeah.
And now he knows how to handle it.
Right.
He doesn't need to rely on Big Papa Spencer.
Yeah. Well, he can if he wants. I'll always be there with my 8-week program.
Right rage! Alright, so I got one final question for you. And I only thought about this one last night because I was thinking about, like, influences for me that I think help my general mental health as a man. But then I put it through a different lens of fictional characters that I watch or read about or whatever that actually help change my own kind of paradigm. Is there any that stand out for you?
I don't know. It seems like maybe Forrest Gump. He had a lot of mental problems, but it seems like most of the men that are portrayed in, like, movies and stuff kind of feed into that toxic masculinity realm.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
So yeah, offhand I can't. Why don't you say who you have in mind?
So I have a couple that really kind of stick out to me, and I think the one that probably is, like, the most profound to me was Mel Gibson's character Riggs in the Lethal Weapon movies, because in that first movie where he was in that really dark place and he had that scene where he was going to commit suicide and ends up, like, rejuvenating his, like, taste for life because of Murtaugh's family. And, like, he was in the movie, he says, I don't do it because of the job, like, as though he's still making a difference, and that's the only thing he's clinging on to. And then he finds, like, life with the Murtaugh family, and then it gets better and better for him as he goes along. And I always thought that was so cool because he was like a tough badass guy, but he was vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just like a Schwarzenegger character who could kill a whole wave of enemies from shit he found in a tool shed. He was a dude, and he was suffering. He was in pain. So I always thought that was really profound. But Did
you send me that?
What?
So I just saw a video. I think I watched a video this morning about. It was like a panel of Mel Gibson at a Comic-Con, I think, or FanX, and they were talking about how that character in Lethal Weapon was an inspiration to men's mental health. And
I did not.
Yeah.
I don't even think I've seen that.
Huh.
Wow, full circle.
Yeah. I just watched that this morning.
It's a good thing we were looking at positive men's mental health things instead of 8-week programs.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up. But yeah, then obviously I have, like, Wolverine is a big classic of mine, you know, because I feel like that's a character who's torn within himself because he has the Wolverine berserker rage, as they call it, but he kind of yearns for like a normal life kind of thing. So he's constantly dealing with the monster within himself, and I think that speaks volumes to many men.
Yeah.
But I think the top is Superman, because I know everybody loves Batman, and Batman's cool, but I think Superman's way cooler. Just the positivity and the power in, like, again, giving people grace. You know, Batman will beat the fuck out of a guy, but Superman will lift him up and take him to jail.
Yeah.
Like, you have a chance to change your life. I could just, you know, kill you. I could throw you into the fucking sun, but I'm going to give you a chance.
Yeah.
So I just always thought that, like, basically a man with the power of a god chooses to be a man.
Yeah.
It's really profound.
Yeah. Never really thought of Superman that way, but yeah.
I wrote this whole, like, diatribe of why Superman is a way better character than Batman, and why he's a better man than Batman. I'll have to share it with you someday.
Plus he's super.
He is super. He's got the spit curl. Looks like
I mean,
Henry
you
Cavill.
could really, like, take a lot of Mel Gibson's iconic characters like Braveheart or, you know, his character in The Patriot and look to those as examples of manliness, or, you know, a man going through strife and trying to be a better man than his opposition.
Yeah. Or even Mad Max.
Mad Max. Yeah.
So
maybe it's just Mel Gibson.
I think it is Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson is the alpha.
He's the tippy top of all dudes.
The alpha.
We're crowning him emperor.
We're just the fucking Ligmas.
I couldn't imagine Mel Gibson saying Ligma.
Yeah. We should get him to try it.
Oh, dude.
Mel. Ligma.
Hook it up. Ligma. Nuts.
Just say it.
I still think Mel Gibson's great.
So do I.
I know he's had his personal issues,
but he's a person.
But he is a person.
He's entitled to his opinions.
Well, and I give him a little bit more grace than a lot of people because, one, he was definitely struggling with alcohol. And alcohol makes you a person that you are not.
Yeah.
They say it's truth serum. It's not. It's, let's take the most worst version of you and we'll put it outside.
So I was also saw a video this morning talking about alcohol, and
I say that as we're having beers.
Yeah. But the girl was talking about how they think that the root word alcohol was like a Greek word that means like a entity that takes over your body. And she was like, it even kind of leads to why they call it spirits. Like, because it, like, when you get blackout drunk, something steps in and takes control.
Interesting.
But, yeah, I don't know.
That tracks really well. I like that.
Yeah.
And I've always just this whole time been saying I'm not an alcoholic, I'm just spiritual, because it's spirits.
I'm just very spirited.
Spirited by the whiskey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think men's mental health is something that we should all be more willing to talk about more often.
Yeah.
That's why I think this should be like a reoccurring thing. Like every 6 months we'll do a new one where we do a check-in.
So, how do you feel your mental health is as compared to the last one that we did, as of right now? You think you're in a better space, or?
Absolutely. I would honestly say in that last one, I was carrying around a very, very big bag of bricks about a lot of things, and I was very bitter and angry and resentful at a lot of people and basically at the whole world. But
understandably.
Yeah. And now that I have not just a healed perspective on things, but a growth perspective where I'm the most mature I've ever been in my whole life. And I've grown the most as a person, just literally in the last like year of my life, than I have in the last 10. So, yeah, definitely better. How about you?
I feel like I from the last time we did it until about 4 days ago, I was doing really well, and then I started watching all those alpha male videos. Now I feel like I'm doing really fucking well.
Dude, I'm telling you, they make you feel better about yourself.
They do. Self-improvement is key.
I think we should.
Buy Ferraris?
I can't afford a Ferrari.
Yeah, me neither.
I was going to say, I think we should start our own, like, alpha male program, but it's to teach discount alpha males how to be good males. We'll market it to people like Wes Watson and Joey Stacks and all that. Like, do you want to be like an actually good
Alpha
dude?
Rehab?
Alpha Rehab. Send it. What's that phrase you say? Print it?
Fucking print it.
Print it. Put it on a billboard. It's happening. Play it right after Swamp Cops.
Swamp Caps, followed by Alpha Rehab. Intervention for alphas.
Intervention for retards. I dig it. Yeah, let's close that one off. I'm glad we really sat down and talked about this.
Me too.
I think there's well, at least I hope that like one person will listen to it and it will help.
Yeah. Don't feel like you're alone. Reach out.
Yeah.
Find. So you can reach out to us.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
The email's on there, all that shit.
I don't know how much help will be, but, we'll be there.
I promise I won't just yell at you to stop being a pussy.
Unless that's what you need.
Yeah, if that's what you request, I got you, fam.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.